You've heard of Udham Singh, the man who avenged Jallianwala Bagh, but do you know the man responsible for the massacre? This is the story of R.E.H. Dyer, the executioner of one of history's darkest days, and what happened to him after the bloodshed. On the evening of 12th April 1919, the leaders of the Hartal in Amritsar gathered at Hindu College Dab Khatikan. They announced a peaceful protest would take place the next day at 4:30 p.m. in Jallianwala Bagh. But Brigadier-General Reginald Dyer had already decided this gathering would not be allowed. Convinced that a rebellion was brewing, Dyer banned all meetings in the city. But the message never reached the people. The next day, thousands gathered in Jallianwala Bagh, some to protest, others simply to celebrate the Baisakhi festival. They had no idea what awaited them. By the afternoon, the garden was packed. Families, worshippers returning from the Golden Temple, men, women, children, trapped inside a space enclosed by high walls. There was only one way in and out. Then, at 5:30 p.m., Dyer arrived. With 50 armed troops, their .303 Lee Enfield rifles loaded, they blocked the exits. The main entrance, wide enough for escape, was reinforced by armored vehicles, preventing anyone from getting out. Then, without warning, he gave the order. Bullets rained down on the crowd, striking the densest sections, where terrified people scrambled to escape. Some tried to scale the walls. Others jumped into the well at the center of the garden, desperate to survive. Firing continued for 10 minutes. The massacre left hundreds dead. Men, women, children. No one was spared. News of the massacre spread quickly. Even in Britain, leaders were horrified. Winston Churchill condemned it as unutterably monstrous, and former Prime Minister H.H. Asquith called it one of the worst outrages in history. The British government had no choice but to act. On the 14th of October 1919, the Hunter Commission was formed to investigate. On the 19th of November, Dyer was summoned. He showed no remorse. When asked if he had helped the wounded, he coldly replied,
"Certainly not. It was not my job. Hospitals were open, and they could have gone there."
Despite widespread condemnation, the Hunter Commission took no action against him. His superiors supported him. The only punishment? He was relieved of his command on the 23rd of March 1920. But here's what shocked the world even more. Instead of being shamed, Dyer was celebrated. A fund was raised by the Morning Post, a pro-imperialist newspaper. It collected £26,000, equivalent to £1.3 million today. Many British officials, including army officers, donated to support the man responsible for mass murder. Meanwhile, the families of the victims were still fighting for compensation. Each received just 500 rupees, barely £1,800 in today's money. And what about an apology? None. Even a century later, Britain has never formally apologized for Jallianwala Bagh. In 2019, British Prime Minister Theresa May called it a shameful scar, but no official apology was given. Over 100 years later, the question remains, will justice ever be served?